We're on with Thomas Rhett today. I feel like, dude, it's been a whirlwind for you, man. You got so much going on. You did Boots the other day. You got tour. You got this new album coming out.
Yeah,
But we had a chance to kind of sit and chat at Boots, and it was just
yeah,
it's such an awesome weekend. And I didn't realize you guys are big or good buddies with Rob Thomas, I guess. Like, how cool was it to come out and do a song
yeah.
with Matchbox 20 at Boots and Hearts?
Dude, it was awesome. I'd never met Rob before until that day. But when Boots added Matchbox to the lineup, I was like, this is like high key nerve wracking for me. Um, and I think just like going back to my childhood, like they were one of the first concerts my dad ever took me to. I remember watching Sugar Ray open for them at Starwood Amphitheater in Nashville when I was like, I don't know, like 11 or 12 years old. And when I first kind of started playing guitar, 3 a.m. was the first song that I ever learned on the guitar.
Oh, no way.
So the amount of like bonfire parties I busted that song out at, like that got me so many brownie points with the ladies, in high school. It was just such a full circle moment, dude. And to be able to, and for them to be gracious enough for me to come on to their stage and get to sing that song that has kind of meant so much to my life was really special. So I hope
I,
everybody enjoyed that because I was geeking out inside.
I feel like everyone was right there with you because you could see that you were a fan as well, and everyone else was like, that's our childhood, like growing
Sure.
up with these guys. And so it
Oh
was just
yeah.
kind of a cool moment for you, but it was like just we were all in it together.
It was so fun, man.
Yeah.
It's a memory that I'll have for literally a lifetime. So I'm just pumped that I got to do that.
So you got maybe a couple days off here before the tour fires back up
Yeah.
again. You mentioned the kids are off to school.
Yeah.
And so now you kind of almost maybe a bit of an empty house. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you guys gonna do with yourselves?
Yeah. Yesterday was like our first real day of that.
Yeah.
Uh, like my wife went to brunch with some friends and like went to a movie with some girlfriends. And like I went and played the most stress-free round of golf that I have ever played since becoming a father. And then, yeah, I got back home at like noon and I was like, gosh, I still have like 2.5 hours before I pick my kids up. So I was like, I'll just take a nap because when do I get to take a nap?
You never get to
It's
do
like
that.
it was like one of the most glorious days of my adult existence. But it also kind of makes me sad because I know that like, as my kids get older, my house probably will just get more and more quiet. So
Right.
really just trying to like soak in that time with them because time is just moving so fast. So
Something else that's coming up fast here is CCMAs.
yeah,
You're going to be hosting alongside Mackenzie Porter. How
yeah.
surprised were you to get that call? Also, how upset were you that you're not nominated for any Canadian Country Music Awards this year?
Bro, okay, first of all, I was shocked. I did not have any idea that I was in the running to be a host for this show. Because I've been to one CCMAs back in 2017 when it was in Halifax, but when they asked me to do it with Mackenzie, I was like, okay, great. Like she's an actress, she knows exactly what she's doing. I'm just gonna follow her lead. And we were doing an interview the other day, and they were reading off the list of nominees. And as serious as I could possibly be, I was like, man, why am I not nominated for any of these things? And Mackenzie was like, dude, because you have to be Canadian. And I was like, oh, okay. So
Oh,
what if I
right.
just like claimed residency for like 6 months? Then could I be nominated or whatever? But
Yeah,
it
I think
was
if you just like squat here for a while, we'll make you an honorary Canadian. We'll
perfect.
we'll we'll get you in there.
I appreciate
Have you
that.
firmed up a script for that yet? Like, what do you got? Are there any teasers? You got some Gord Bamford burns in there or what?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to burn Gord. I've only met Gord like once, so I don't have enough ammo in my
Okay.
pocket to be able to do so. But I'm hoping that Mackenzie does. We're just now starting to see the script and starting to tweak, but I think it's gonna be really good, man. I think it's gonna be really good.
Um, you started off. I mean, it's been a couple moons now, Thomas. Like you started off this thing though. You were a drummer originally, is that right? And I heard that you would practice drums underwater. What's that all
Yeah,
about?
dude. That was like back in my like metal, like hardcore, like emo days, like
Okay,
back in
all
back
right.
in
Yeah,
middle
yeah.
school.
We
But
all
yeah,
had that phase, yeah.
the drums was my first instrument. So like when I was in
Yeah.
like 5th grade, like my dad bought me like a Pearl Rockstar kit from Sam Ash, and like I bought me like a double kick pedal and like 17 crash cymbals and an absurd amount of toms. And I just remember one of my favorite drummers from this band called Under Oath told me that he used to practice like doing his double kick drum underwater because it would like
Okay.
than his like leg muscles. And so like I would just like find any body of water I could and just like do my feet like as fast as I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
to
yeah.
make sure that I was like, super hardcore. So
And you still play drums a little bit.
yeah.
Is it true you play? I don't know if it's a band per se, but you play with your dad in like a punk band. Is that right?
We created this like alter ego, like British like punk rock band. And we have yet to play any shows, but if we do, then yes, I will be the drummer. My dad will be the singer. It would be hilarious if that ever
I, I
happened.
I was gonna say when can we hear some songs from this band, but it might be a little ways down the road still,
Yeah, or never. Hopefully never.
or never. All right.
If you're
Um,
hearing those songs, it means that my career has taken a super south turn, So
Well, we are excited for new songs from Thomas Rhett. You got the new album About a Woman. It's out August
yeah,
23rd. Now, is that is the woman Lauren, or is it just like
yeah.
women in general? Or
I mean, I think it's kind of both. For me, it is about one woman. It is about my wife. But we wrote them in such a way where like I feel like anyone listening to this got that that one woman in their life that they love. Like I think this record is really going to kind of tread a lot of territory with people that have been in relationships, are in relationships, are going to be in relationships. And so yeah, I wrote it about my wife, man, and just about our relationship throughout our whole life. We've known each other since we were like 6 years old, and so there's just a lot of things to say. And it came out in a very joyful fashion, and yeah, just a really fun project, dude. If you want to smile, you should listen to it. So
it's got some real because we had a chance to check out a couple of the songs, and it's
yeah,
got some real. I find it had some real peaks and valleys
sure,
to it.
yeah. I think that's what I try to do on every record, man. I never like I think I played y'all like 6 tunes on the bus that day.
Yeah, yeah.
But no songs feel like each other. I don't like listening to records where all songs feel the same. Like I love when the artist takes me on this path because it kind of makes me feel
It's a
like
journey. Yeah,
I kind of feel like I know what they've been listening to, and I feel like I know what kind of brings them joy. So
right.
records should make you feel all of the emotions, from hype to sad to like laughing to dancing to crying. And so I feel like that will happen a lot on this project. Mostly dancing, and mostly
A lot of
but
dancing. A lot of dancing.
but I feel like it's a really well balanced album, dude. And a lot of you can kind of tell what I was listening to on a lot of these songs just by
Right.
listening to the record. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, because I was gonna ask you about that. We listened to one song that had almost like a Chattahoochee
Yeah,
ain't going down to the sun comes up vibe to it. Then there's
yeah,
another one that was like almost like a Rolling Stones like Miss
yeah,
You kind of vibe to it.
yeah.
Is that the intention when you're writing the songs? Is it kind of like you're inspired by that, but it's also maybe even a nod to those guys?
100%, dude. I mean, every time I get in the writing room, it all starts with music, right? We're like, yo, have you heard this like old random Beatles song? Or have you heard, remember when Coldplay did this? Or remember when they did that? And you start playing
Yeah,
it, and you're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
man, it'd be like, it's kind of like, what would it feel like if we did something like that? You know what I mean? Because everybody that writes, you're always pulling from some sort of influence of something that you love,
Right.
you know? And so like on a lot of this record was written over the course of a year and a half. So, every 2 months my brain was on to something else, like listening to something different. And so that's how a lot of those songs were started, just by kind of like listening to music and being like, what are y'all listening to? And how can we write something that feels like a Thomas Rhett song? And then ultimately end up with a full album of it. So
Well, we know the album, at least the title and the album, the theme of the album was inspired by Lauren. How much is she going to help you with your socials over the next couple of weeks as well?
I, don't- she is just as untech savvy as you and I think. So we leave a lot of that stuff to the professionals out there.
Okay, good.
But
Probably
she's
better that way.
hilarious, dude. Like a lot of our social media together is just about making fun of each other. I think that's kind of how we flirt, man. I think that's kind of how we keep
Right.
our flame alive, is to constantly make sure that we're never taking each other too seriously. You know what I'm
Witty
saying?
banter. Witty
Yeah,
banter. That's what
exactly.
it's all about, man. About a Woman out everywhere, August 23rd. Thomas Rhett, man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for doing this, pal.
Heck yeah, bro. Thank you for your time.